Hey, Shooks. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Melanin Mayhem podcast, hosted by your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. If today is your first time dropping in on the Mayhem, hey, sugar, come on in and get comfortable and let me tell you what you stumbled into here. You see, Melanin Mayhem is going to bring you the stories of some terrible crimes. Ooh, I'm talking heinous, diabolical, and downright audacious, I tell you. And all of these are of the serial variety, committed by some melanated baddies that you may have never heard of. And if by chance you have heard of our mayhem makers, that's okay too, honey, because I can promise you that you have not heard the story the way I'm going to tell it, baby. Because you see, I am on a mission, a one woman band out here trying to dispel this pervasive myth that there are certain types of crimes that black folks just don't commit. Honey, that is cap. We was believing the hype and out here getting got like a motherfucker. So go on ahead and get comfortable, baby, because you are in for a treat today. And if you don't believe me, just ask my crew, baby, the Newer Nation. But watch yourself, honey, because they don't play about their favorite country girl. Ooh, hey, sugar wookers, my crime cousins, what you know good. Good Lordy, Miss Claudia. I'm so glad y'all are here. I hope y'all are ready for May, baby, because it's here. This year is just flying by. Ooh, child, I'm just trying to keep it in the middle of the road, baby. This thing is moving, and I am just in awe of all of the blessings that God is doing in my life right now. Now, I'm not going to get all mushy and shit, but I am just so thankful for each and every one of you that take the time to cuddle with me every week, honey. Like, I couldn't have imagined this when I first had the idea of Melanin Mayhem, that it would turn into something so special and allow me to do what I've always wanted to do, which is use my voice as my profession. I'm going to tell you, it does get greater later, honey. So whoever needs to hear this, just do it. Stop thinking about it and do it. You will never know how it's going to turn out if you don't try. And as long as you give it your best and enjoy what you're doing, you still winning either way. Okay, we're not gonna get mushy right now. Buck up, bitch. All right. Let's see what we got. Church announcements, the usual. Go to the website if you are looking for some merch. That's melaninmayhempodcast.com. What else? We have the socials to stay in touch with the country girl. I'm Melanin Mayhem Podcast everywhere except for X, where I am Melanin Mayhem PC. Don't forget to follow me on Spotify. And if you also would like a little bit extra, there is also the Melanin Mayhem Original Story Series, for which you can subscribe to hear alternate endings. I think, let me see. Oh. I did a video, y'all. I've been editing it, or at least trying to. Y'all know I have been hearing it from y'all talking about my mic. Listen, y'all know I'm teaching myself how to do all of this stuff, right? So all of this sound and all of this stuff, YouTube University has really gotten me to the point where I am now, but I'm still learning. And so, yeah, I kind of figured out which setting I needed to put this microphone on to make it do what I really needed to do. So I do hope that for this episode and all episodes going forward, everything sounds a whole lot better. You're not getting that whole one ear thing. But yeah, go ahead and subscribe to the Melanin Mayhem Original Story Series. I cut up over there, child. It's a whole vibe. You can do that at melaninmayhempodcast.supercast.com. And I literally think that's all we have this week. Y'all know I'm still trying to get ready for Essence. I'll have some more stuff to announce about that later. But for right now, let's go on ahead and get to the reason for the streaming. What nation, baby, let me tell you, I blew the dust off of this one. Honey, I'm still over here coughing. This mug. Woo, when I say I went back to the way back before time, baby, this here is ancestral tea. I reached all the way back to the early 1900s to drag this OG scallywag to the front of the congregation. And you know what? That's the perfect word for his ass, too. A motherfucking scallywag. Because, baby, let me tell you something. We all know that them Reconstruction era clear teens was hell on wheels when they had to talk about a nigga in the media, and they called this nigga here a ghoul. And what's crazy is the shit kind of got a little ring of truth to it. This one here gonna have you squinching your eyes trying to figure out what the fuck. It's also another one of those tales of rebellion. What I am finding more and more when I come across these tales of mayhem from the way back when days is that all rebellions weren't loud, say like a Nat Turner. Most of them was quiet, vindictive get-backs committed by black people that were just tired of the bullshit and was gonna take their anger and frustration out on whoever. And the nigga we gonna talk about today, oh, he didn't care for the unseasoned, nor the shit that they did. And the shit that he did, it's a little out there. You'll see. All right, that's enough of a tease. Let's go on ahead and get on with it, shall we? Today, I am bringing to the front of the congregation an old school relic for a proper examination of the shenanigry. This week's Melanin Mayhem Maker is Mr. Alonzo Robinson.
This episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Spring calls for a wardrobe refresh, and Nordstrom has the best styles of the season. From dresses and denim to standout tops and accessories, find the trends and essentials that feel right for you. Discover new arrivals from brands you love like Wave, Princess Polly, Mango, Adidas, and Free People. Plus, free shipping and returns and free styling appointments make everything so easy. Shop in stores at Nordstrom.com or download the Nordstrom app.
Okay, New Orleans Nation, let's go on get into it. Alonzo Robinson was born in 1895 in Cleveland, Mississippi. Not a clue as to the month or the day. All I got is a year. And we already know that record keeping was not a thing for the melanated peoples unless they did some shenanigry. So who his mama and them were, have no clue. But of course we understand how babies get here. So a man and a woman got together and Alonzo was the product of that getting together, right? And outside of his criminal record, y'all know we don't have much ink on Negro men from the country at this point in our history, but that's okay because we're going to press on with pride because the story of his shenanigry is what takes the key here. So, what's funny to me when I was researching this story is what constituted a crime back in the day. When we first come to learn of Alonzo, he was still living in Cleveland, Mississippi, and he was in his early 20s. It's around 1918, and women started receiving letters in the mail. Letters, Nay? Yeah, New Orleans Nation, they was getting letters in the mail, and these letters were said to be obscene. Obscene? Obscene. You see, somebody was writing nasty letters, saying all mannerisms of nasty things and sending them out to the hueless and clueless. And these women would get a letter in their mailbox from somebody that they didn't know. And baby, it was all kind of sucking and fucking and what they need done to them type of kinky shit in these here letters. And you know, from the beginning of time, a Karen gone Karen. Especially when the Karen is one of those socially prominent women, which these women were. And so they would get the police involved, you know, crying and carrying on because they read something that was distasteful. Now, It wasn't that they could just throw the shit in the trash and keep it pushing. Oh, no, no, no. They pressed for a full-on investigation to find the nasty mouth motherfucker that was sending the pale people's pornographic letters. So this investigation led them to Alonzo because he was going to the local post office, you know, the one where they put the post office mark on the letter to tell you where it came from. That. So the postmaster helped the authorities figure out that it was Alonzo that was getting his zane on with the Milky Waysians, right? So the story is that one of them women that was getting them letters, the husband found out that it was Alonzo that was harassing his wife, and he went to go handle that shit personally. Well, they say he ran up on Alonzo, and they got to moving furniture or whatever, and then old man pulled out his piece be still and shot at Alonzo, because hell, ain't nobody got no time to be out here fighting this nigga. But your boy Alonzo, he broke out and zigzagged on his ass, and the husband did clip him in his shoulder, but the boy, he kept it pushing and dipped right on out of Cleveland, Mississippi, because, you know, hey, the block was hot. And, you know, there might not have been computers and shit in 1918, but the law knew who Alonzo was and where he stayed and who his people were. So they just posted up waiting on him to come home. And so Alonzo understood that if he were to go to the crib, they was gonna yoke his ass up. So yeah, he bounced and he hit the road, Jack. Left Cleveland, Mississippi behind and headed for greener, freer pastures in Ferndale, Michigan. Now, he ain't no dummy. He, like I said, he knew that he was hot. He knew his name was hot. So he switched it up and he started going by a new name. When he got to Michigan, he was now James H. Coyner. 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 Now, you know, the whole 1918 of it all made that shit pretty easy to do. It wasn't like he needed to run down to the Social Security office or change out his driver's license or nothing like that. So when he gets to Michigan, however, he's still on his own shit. Still, you know, sending letters to the Alabasters or whatnot. But he also picked up another little peculiar habit. He started spending significant amounts of time in graveyards. Now, wait a minute. Hold on before you go there. I just want to say this because it's a true fact. The country girl loves a good cemetery. And I know, I hear it all the time when I say that. But y'all, I am fascinated with how humans bury their dead. Ooh, honey, let me tell you something. New Orleans, I love the cemeteries just as much as I love their food. I don't know, a good old mausoleum that I can wander around for hours, baby. I be in hog heaven, honey. When I was in Hawaii, I found out that they put doll houses on top of the plot for the soul to live in. In Paris, they got the catacombs. Baby, I'm here for all of it. But I just like to walk through and chill, you know, maybe sit for a spell and read a book because it's so peaceful there. I mean, tell me, when was the last time you heard of some shit popping off at the All Saints Rest Memorial Gardens? I'm just saying, pretty goddamn safe amongst the dead. But while that ain't got shit to do with Lonzo ass, I just wanted to point out that there are peoples that go to cemeteries without ill intent. But Lonzo, that wasn't him. He was going to the graveyard for materialistic intentions, apparently. The only job that I could ever find that he did on a regular was grave robbing. Ooh, my Lord, today, honey, what a difference in today's hustles than that of the past. I mean, I know a lot of peoples that do a lot of things, but I can say confidently that I ain't never met a motherfucker that dig up graves and pop open caskets to rob a dead body. And I know I just painted a real funky picture in your head, but I mean, it is what it is. Well, that's what Alonzo was into. And I guess there are worse things that you can do criminalistically speaking, but the of it all. I mean, that sounds like back-breaking work. You got to dig up some shit to get to the casket. That's 6 feet in the ground. Then you got to hoist that motherfucker open. No, thank you. So Alonzo is disturbing the peaceful slumber of the passed on in Ferndale, Michigan. And if all that was the only thing that was going down, of course he wouldn't be our mayhem maker of the week. So we know that there was some other shit going on with Alonzo. And you see, it all started around 1927 when random women in Ferndale started turning up with their heads missing. And you know, police was like, you found a body. The head supposed to be there too. And they were not slow to pick up the pattern either. You know, one white woman come up dead with her head nowhere to be found. They looked at her peoples. You know what I'm saying? This some family shit. Two dead and headless caucasical women's come up and they knew instantly that, you know what? Some shit is going down. Three dead headless housewives of Ferndale and it was all out panic. And then came that fourth one and all hell broke loose because where the fuck is they goddamn heads? You know, that means closed caskets all around for sure. But you know what? Wouldn't it be some shit to pull up on a funeral and see a empty pillar section of the casket? Motherfucker just laying up there all neck. That is not funny, Nate. Maybe they just got the lower section of the casket open. You know, the bottom part, you just get to see legs and feet. Y'all, it is like 4 something in the morning, Wednesday morning. I am sleep deprived. Pardon me. Now, being that this is a smallish community, the peoples knew when an outsider was in the mix, right? So Alonzo, aka James Coiner, he was instantly a suspect. But the popo couldn't find nothing on him to make some shit stick, right? And you know, this is because this is what we would, I guess, call prehistoric policing. You know, forensic evidence ain't a thing. Ain't no capabilities for that shit right now. Only thing that they really do is fingerprints, right? But these heads were missing and these bodies were found in places that, you know, if the killer had touched some shit, it wouldn't be no prints there. You know, the outdoors of it all. You can't lift no print from a blade of grass or the bark of a tree or some shit. So all they really had was suspicion. And even though we know back then that's all it really took for some flower arrangers to string a nigga up, they didn't get a chance to do that to Lonzo, at least not for this crime. And it wasn't for lack of trying. They questioned Alonzo, but he was slick with it. You know, they found the heads of the bodies eventually, and they found them in a very peculiar place. They were wrapped in newspaper, stuck underneath an army uniform in a trunk. You know, a trunk, what they used to use back in the day for luggage, a trunk, right? Not for a car, actual piece of luggage, trunk. And when they found this trunk, they traced it back to supposedly belonging to James Coiner. And so while they didn't have enough evidence to actually charge James with a crime because they couldn't figure out how the women had died, none of that, just that their heads were separated from their bodies, that does not mean that Lonzo was able to just two-step out that shit, because there was still the little matter of grave robbing habit that he had. And so that's what they eventually got him on, some grave robbing charges. Somewhere around 1926, he got popped and got sent off to the Indiana State Prison for stealing from some woman's grave. So again, after he's in prison, they find the heads, trace them back to James, and so they go back to the prison and they talk to him one more time because now they got a little bit more evidence. They found a second trunk that was in that luggage set or however it goes, and this second trunk was sent down to Mississippi to Alonzo's mama's house in Boyle County. And so they go back over to the prison, they holler at him again, but this time they don't ask him about the skulls or anything straight out. They started out by just asking him, hey, is this your trunk? And Alonzo was like, yeah, that's my shit. And so then they hit him with, well, if this your shit, what these caucasical women's skulls doing in it? Alonzo looked at him and his bad ass said, you know what? I could tell you a lot of things that you'd like to know. a lot of things about murders and murderers, but I'll die first. That's a direct quote. Ooh, that nigga wasn't trying to hear that shit. The translation to that was, I ain't no snitch, and you gonna have to do your job if you want to know what had happened to them women. Lonzo. The investigator said that talking to Alonzo was like talking to a post. Yeah, Alonzo is a OG. He ain't finna tell y'all shit. Another thing I found out is that grave robbing apparently wasn't a major crime back then because they only gave Lonzo a little over 7 years in the pen. He got paroled in June of 1934. And after he was released, he didn't settle down in Michigan. Oh no, he was a rolling stone. They say he rolled all up and through the Delta, the Memphis area, Michigan, Ohio, just bouncing around wherever the wind blew him. Mobility gave him freedom. Freedom to disappear and freedom to start over, build a new life, try something different. But you know what? It also gave him the freedom to go and fuck up some more of the pale people's posse too. And fuck some shit up, he did. Baby, instead of sitting down and drinking his water, James decided to go out and do some heinous shit, y'all. So it's December 1934, and Lonzo has rolled back into Mississippi, and he back on the bullshit, right? Now, December, that means it's the holiday season, right? And he finna fuck it up for somebody. Well, on December 9th, 1934, a man named Aurelius Turner, he had a wife. She was young. She was pregnant. I don't know how young she was, but it could be in her teens. She could have been in her 20s, the whole 1934 of it all. Anyway, Aurelius and the missus and their 2 children, they was at the house chilling. Now, one of the children was 6 years old. The other one was a baby, and I know that because they describe it as being in a crib. And now also there's a baby on the way, right? There was a whole lot of fucking going on in 1934. Not the point. Anyway, so that night, the night of the 9th, Alonzo runs up into their house real sneaky like, right? He got a hatchet in one hand and a gun in his pocket. Ooh, honey, ain't nothing good finna come from this. So, Aurelius was sitting in his chair, reading the newspaper. It's like 8:30 at night. And he must have gotten the feeling that he wasn't alone no more. You know how sometimes you can tell when somebody in the room with you? Well, he must have got that feeling, and he looked up from where he was sitting, and baby, tell me why this man got bust in the head to the white meat with a motherfucking hatchet. Ooh, he go night-night instantly, just on the floor, dazed, moaning, bleeding real bad. Now, Mrs. Turner, she hears a commotion. She come running to see what the fuck going on. And damn, if that motherfucking Alonzo ain't turn around and open up a can of whoop ass on her ass. When I say he hacked this woman to death, I'm talking just swinging that goddamn hatchet into this pregnant woman's body. Blow after blow after blow. They say she was literally in pieces all around the room. Ooh, honey, this nigga must have hacked that woman till he got tired. My Lord. And I understand this. Lonzo ain't no little nigga. They describe him as being 6'4", 240. I'm talking solid. Good googly moogly. Good God. Okay, so now Mrs. Turner and the baby are no longer with us. Mr. Turner is on the floor, fucked up for sure, but he's still alive, but not for long. Baby, that goddamn trifling ass Lonzo took out his gun and shot the shit out of Aurelius. One time to the dome. Now he walking with the lily of the valley. Now, I'm going to tell you, as if that wasn't diabolical enough, that puss ass Lonzo then goes into the children's room and hit the 6-year-old upside the head with the motherfucking hatchet too. God damn it, Lonzo. Like, you ain't even have to do that. Now, right now you got too much dip on your chip. The baby is innocent, right? This 6-year-old kid for sure ain't did nothing to nobody. Why the fuck you hit that child? Thankfully, if we have to find a silver lining in all of this fuckery, he did not touch the baby in the crib. But wait, there's more. Y'all hate when I say that, right? After he does all that, he ransacks the house, looking for shit to steal. Not only a robber of the graves, he'll rob your shit too. And so he took Mr. Turner's watch, and then instead of leaving after he has run through their house, this trifling motherfucker go back into there where Mrs. Turner is laying dead, and he takes pieces of her skin. Yes, I said that. Pieces of her skin. Skin. Put that shit in his bag and then dipped out. Ooh, you's a nasty motherfucker, Alonzo. Like, what in the entire fuck? Like, what? This was gonna be a snack for later or some shit? Jesus, it's just too much. So the following morning, this is the morning of the 10th, the Turners, they have a maid, black woman. She comes in to come do her maid shit, and she finds the Turners all fucked up, and then all hell breaks loose, right? Because this is some fucked up shit, and so they got to find the motherfucker who did this, right? Well, check this out. First, they snatch up this dude, and not just any dude, but a member in good standing of the unseasoned. His name was Rufus Leo Roy. They got him on December 17th, 1934, in Shreveport, Louisiana. Now, not only was he white, but he was also like the ex-brother-in-law to Mrs. Turner. I don't know how all that worked out, but however, whatever, this is like 7 days after the Turners were found, right? And maybe they heard that it was bad blood between them or something. I don't know. But Shreveport is like 4 hours and some change from Cleveland, Mississippi. But they say Rufus is the murdering murderer that murdered the Turners, right? And so they drive him all the way from Shreveport to Cleveland, telling him all along the way how they got his ass now and they gonna let him swing for this shit. And Rufus is steadily telling them, look, man, it ain't me. I didn't do this. I wouldn't do this. What the fuck is you talking about? I went nowhere near Cleveland, Mississippi when all this shit down. I ain't been in Mississippi and I don't know how long. It was not me. They was not trying to hear that shit, right? Not trying to hear it at all. So they get him back to Cleveland and they take his fingerprints. And it takes a little time because, again, the whole early 1900s of it all, it takes some time. But when it comes back, it does show that it was not Rufus who did this terrible crime. Hell, it wasn't no member of the Glow in the Dogs. Oh, no, no, no. They realize at this point that it is a black man that they are looking for. One that they are already familiar with. That Negro Alonzo Robinson. Okay, so the fingerprints are a match to Alonzo. They know he's back in town, they know where his mama lived, and they also know that Alonzo liked to send nasty letters to the hueless and clueless. So they post up at the post office and they wait. And sure enough, here come Alonzo. On January 12th, 1935, they arrested his little horny-toed ass right there at the post office when he came to drop off another batch of letters. And he was wearing Ariellis's watch. Ooh, honey, they got that ass right quick, yoked his ass up, and took him to the jail in Jackson, Mississippi. Now, this jail was supposed to have been mob-proof, and they got him on the top floor, and the only way to get up there is by an elevator that's locked up tight. And that's a good thing because the cotton markers, oh, they was talking cash shit about strangling a nigga up. So, they sweating Lonzo hard. Baby, Lonzo ain't saying shit. Well, actually he is. He just ain't saying the shit they want to hear. Lonzo don't give two shits about nothing that the police are questioning him about. He don't want to talk about no damn murder. The only thing he will cop to is anything that's already on paper. The time that he has already done for this grave robbing, yeah, he copped to that. But anything else that they are asking him, all he is doing is just aggravating the shit out of them for like 5 days straight. Every day they going at him and he ain't trying to hear it, just playing all in their face, right? But oh baby, on that 5th day, them goddamn flower rangers had motherfucking enough. Baby, January 16th, 1935, they arrested Alonzo's mama. mm They said he won't talk, so they was gonna make him talk. They charged his mother with being an accessory to his crimes. They said she knew what he did and she covered for him. And you know what? They really ain't shit because Mrs. Robinson was 74 goddamn years old. Y'all know she ain't had shit to do with no murderations. They was just using her as leverage to get Alonzo to fess up. So, like I said, all this time, Lonzo been 10 toes down, playing all up in their face about all of this shit. So after they snatched up his mama, they went back to talk to him. And when he hit them with that, fuck you, I ain't studying y'all shit, they hit him with the, okay, nigga, you ain't got to talk. We got your mama, and we gonna send both of y'all black asses to the big house if you don't start talking. Baby, please understand, Lonzo loved his mama. Don't get it twisted. He'll fuck a cracker up, but he ain't about to let nothing happen to his mama. So he quickly started negotiating with the police to get his mama straight. In exchange for them getting his mama out of that jailhouse and putting protection on her so that the mayonnaise mob didn't do her dirty, he would tell them everything that they wanted to know. And so a deal was struck. They took Mama Robinson home, and baby Alonzo sung like a goddamn canary. When they asked him why he did it, he said, quote, I just had an impulse to kill somebody. Now, this is what I need you to understand, because they talked to Alonzo for a long time. And I need you to understand this. The Flower Rangers was shooketh. They could not wrap their head around this one particular fact, that here is this Negro. He's done these terrible things, and they were more amazed that he speaks in well-chosen words from a comparatively large vocabulary. That's a direct quote. You know what? It don't matter what kind of spectacular shit melanated people do. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if it's bad. The goddamn paper plate nation gonna always dumb it down to, ooh, they speak so well. I mean, think about it. This nigga done Donkey Kong the whole goddamn family. And that's what you amazed by? That the nigga got a big vocabulary? Ugh. Anyway. Alonzo admitted to all mannerisms of grave robbing. He said he ain't never seen a grave he ain't want to dig up and rummage through for anything that might be of value. And when they asked him about those heads, Alonzo said that he didn't kill them women. He just found their heads in a grave with nobody. Okay, Alonzo. Well, then they asked him about them nasty letters, and he was like, fuck them hoes. Nobody care about them, fuck them. And so then they asked him about Mrs. Turner's skin being in his motherfucking pocket when they picked his ass up at the goddamn post office. We're gonna pause right here for just a moment, because a nigga, who the fuck walk around with a bitch skin in their pocket? Like, in the pocket. Like, right now, you might got some change in your pocket. You might got a pen. You might got a breath mint, some chewing gum. What you don't have is some skin that belong to another motherfucker. Like, Lonzo, ugh. In answer to that question, Lonzo said that he took the skin because he wanted to see how it felt. Okay, let me get this straight. You got skin, so you know how that shit feel. What the fuck kind of fuckery is this, Alonzo? You're making us look bad. Y'all, I'm delirious. I'm so sleepy. Anyway, so the skin is in his pocket. He want to know how it feel. So they was like, okay, nigga, you say you want to know how it feel. You got this skin, but this skin that we found in your pocket, it also has been salted and cured, and it's got teeth marks on it. Nigga. What in the preserving hell is this? You was really gonna eat some chicken skin, huh? So they asked Lonzo, hey man, you tasted that shit? And this gremlin goblin ass nigga Lonzo gonna say, yeah, I did. Ugh. I almost threw up a little bit in my mouth. Gross. Once that shit got out that Lonzo really did like to play with his food, that's when the papers started calling him a ghoul. And I don't know, did they lie? The shit sound kind of ghoulish to me. So now at this point, they've got a signed confession. All that's left to do is to crank up the jury right quick and handle this little business. And baby, you want to talk about speedy trials? Ooh, my lord, honey, this shit happened the following month in February. But for them few weeks while Alonzo was in jail, baby, he put pen to paper and wrote a shitload of letters to the newspapers. He did interviews and shit. And his position was that the Alabaster assholes did way more wrong as a unit than he as one man out here doing criminal shenanigans. Out there lynching black people was way more worse in his mind than him killing a family here, taking somebody's head over there. So I don't know. I just Lonzo, you can try to make this thing look right, but you fucked them folks up very, very bad. Like, I understand what you mean or what you were trying to say, that the mob mentality that could come around and lynch black folks at will. I get that. That was horrible. That was terrible. And nobody paid for it like they should have. But at the same time, bro, two things can be true at the same time. That's terrible, and the shit you did is terrible too. Like, Lonzo, you got skin in your pocket. Boy. Eye for an eye? I mean, I mean, like I said, not all rebellions are loud and flashy, y'all. Sometimes they quiet and vindictive. And you know, a few episodes back, I brought y'all the story of the most protected melanated murderer in 1920 with the story of Will Lockett. And damn if Lonzo ain't the second most protected killer, because they brought in the National Guard to make sure that did nothing pop off in Cleveland. Like 200-300 soldiers out there guarding the jail in Jackson. And they escorted him to the Boulevard. I don't know how you say that word. Bolivar County Courthouse. To stand trial. So February 4th, 1935 was his court date. And baby, when I say speedy trial, everything about this case went down on that day. It was all over before the end of the day, like signed, sealed, and delivered. The goddamn prosecutor, he had the confession. He pulled out that goddamn chicken skin and he was like, look at this shit. Y'all know what to do. Because he did. He literally pulled out the chicken skin. Now, understand, Lonzo did not take his good grave robbing piece of skin in the pocket, killing ass nowhere near the stand. I ain't got shit to say. Fuck that. And that was probably the smartest thing to do, because they about to do what they gonna do to you, Lonzo, whether you say a word or not. Because understand, a couple of hours later, Alonzo Robinson was convicted of the murder and mutilation of the Turners. And Judge W. Alcorn scheduled his state-sponsored disconnection for March 5th, baby. Next month, you has got to go. They gonna string his ass up. And just to show his fat meat is greasy, in the wee hours of the morning on March 5th, 1935, they frog marched Alonzo Robinson to the gallows on top of the 4th-story Bolivar County Jail, and Sheriff E.R. McLean pulled the lever and dropped the floor from beneath Alonzo's feet while a rope with a noose was around his neck. And that's the end of Alonzo Robinson. New One Nation, that's the story. That was a book about, wasn't it? That was like, this is not a clean story. You know, sometimes you could be like, did this, you was a motherfucker. And absolutely, Alonzo, you trifling. You did that. Like, I don't know what happened to Alonzo in his life. I understand what life was like for our people during that time. So I can imagine in my head all I want, you know, what motivated Alonzo to do these things. But at the end of the day, grave robbing is some nasty bullshit. I mean, the dead deserve to rest in peace. Again, if you had just left it at that, you'd have just been a peculiar ass nigga with a peculiar ass hustle. But the murder of the Turners, bruh, like that was a lot. And then to take the hatchet after the child, like, bruh, I would I would be hesitant to say that you can find the right in that. You just can't. Murder is murder is murder is murder. Is it right? No. I don't care who's doing it, whether it's the lynch mob or the lone mob. It's not right. But this story is layered. Is there's crime, there's ghoulishness, there's of course racism. Because hell, they rushed to find somebody. Although that first person that they grabbed up was Caucasoid, but still they was wanting somebody. They did follow the evidence which led them to Alonzo. But I'm just saying, you was a Rolling Stone. For the life of me, I don't understand why he stayed in Mississippi. I mean, he was a Rolling Stone. He was used to getting up out of Dodge whenever he needed to. You know, maybe there was a part of him that wanted to get caught. I don't know. Either way, I thought this was a very interesting story because once again, we have a man who committed a heinous crime against somebody that was white during a time where that definitely was an automatic death sentence. And instead of allowing mob rule to rule, they protected Alonzo. They made sure that he was somewhere that nobody could get to him. While it may have been speedy, pretty much the case was cut and dried, and they did make sure that he got a trial. Whether or not it was fair, I mean, based on news reports, it was a trial. Either way, you know, we knew what this outcome was going to be once they had this information. But, you know, fingerprints, yeah. But did he confess because they had his mama? Or did he confess because he did that shit? Of course, there is the skin in the pocket. Ain't no getting around that. So I don't know. I think the deck is stacked in the state's favor on this one. I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say about Alonzo Robinson and his shenanigans out in Cleveland, Mississippi. To my Mississippians, have y'all ever heard of this story? Y'all let me know in the comments. You know, on social media, you can get at me. Again, I am Melanin Mayhem Podcast. And on X, I am Melanin Mayhem PC. If email is more your ministry, you can hit me up. It is melaninmayhempodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget about the subscription service. You can subscribe at melaninmayhempodcast.supercast.com. Ooh, child, it is, let me see, 5:05 in the morning. I got 2.5 hours to get this thing polished and on the post so that it'll be ready for y'all on your 7:30 run. So today's New Ordination shout out is gonna go to Dina, who left a review on Spotify. And the review said, "Keep up the awesome work, Sister Queen. This story had me clutching my imaginary pearls, laughing and cursing all at the same damn time." That's what I'm talking about, Dina. That's what we trying to do, honey. Laugh and curse at the same time. If people did more laughing and cursing, the world would be a whole better place. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with the country girl and even to take time out to send me a review. I definitely appreciate it. I hope you follow me on Spotify, and that goes for the rest of y'all too, not just Dina. Now, I need you to get out here in the One Nation, get into the group chats. I need everybody listening to the Melanin Mayhem podcast with your favorite country girl, Renee Davis. But now I need to get in the booth and cut some things up, polish some things up. I don't know, it's a little late, so y'all probably gonna have all mannerisms of breathing and me swallowing and whatnot that I would normally cut out. But ooh, I got to get me some sleep because y'all know I got to be to work in a few hours. But that's okay, babies, because this is a labor of love, and I would sit up all night and 2 or 3 days at a time to make sure that y'all got what I told y'all gonna get every Wednesday, long as I ain't on hiatus. So That being said, New Nation, thank you so much for hanging out with the country girl. I'm going to get on up out of here. But before we close the doors of the church, we have to make sure that everybody knows to stay safe and, stay ever vigilant. And if you don't remember nothing else that the country girl said, remember this. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, baby. It's one love, New Nation. And your favorite country girl is out of here.
Woo-wee, Nana, you did that. Wow.